Just kidding. Share your screen. Man, you want me to... Whatever. You want me to read it, but you don't give me time to read it. All right, holy crap. So I am streaming live. I am attempting to actually stream live for the first time ever on my laptop. I tried streaming live on my cell phone, and it seems to overheat. And when I look at the insides, it turns out that when you charge, when you do anything, it's all up here. The rest of this part down here is just simply a battery that is going along for the ride. And so everything up here overheats and it's charging right here. But what's weird is even though it's charging at the bottom, even when it charges, it heats up right here. When I do a video, it heats up right here. Well, if I were to try to download the video immediately after doing the video, it'll heat up over here. And then I get a message that says my phone is overheating and all the systems are slowly shutting themselves down. So I remembered that I bought this really cheap $200 laptop from Best Buy, like around 2018. And it was so cheap, it wasn't even locked in a display case. It was like out on the floors, and it was in recycled cardboard boxes because it's a Lenovo Chromebook Android 10, Android 11. And it's in cardboard boxes, and the cardboard boxes were shaped to create a pyramid, and they were in the middle of the aisle. And if you weren't watching where you were going, you were going to crash into them and knock over all these computers, well, laptops. And I walk in and I tell the guy that I want a laptop, but I want it to be so bare bones that it is the equivalent of a yellow pad of legal paper, but laptop. And he said, go over there. It's in the middle of the aisle. You'll see it. Sure enough, here it was. So this has camera. It's a Lenovo. It's a Chromebook. It's an Android. My phone is a Samsung. My TV is a Samsung. Those are both Androids. So why make 1 + 1 = potato when you could just have it equal 2 and just accept that it equals 2? I'm going to go ahead and shut this window. There's no one in here right now, and that's totally fine. I expect people to watch this afterwards, I reckon. The blankets mean nothing. They were just $2.50 at Walmart, and once upon a time, I used them to block the light, and that's what it is. Let's see. You do hear chicks in the back because those are little baby chickens that are probably 3 days old. Yeah, I'm not trying to knock over my charger, so that's what you get for a view. And there's nobody in here, so that's the thing too. I'm going to attempt to make this a 1 hour long situation. I'm keeping power packs plugged into my laptop in an effort to keep it going for as long as humanly possible, because I suffer from a curse of when you look for it, you can't find it. And I'm trying to look for my charge cables for my laptop, and lo and behold, I can't find it. But I can find a bunch of power packs, different sizes, different shapes, different, whatever you want to call them, storage capacities. So if there's any beep or weird sound just now, that's because I plugged in a different one. This one's really cool. It's one of the old 5,000 milliamp hour MAH. This is Anker. And this was at Walmart once upon a time. I want to say about $25, and I bought it because it plugs into the wall. And then it doesn't. And then it does. So if you're ever backpacking, especially Pacific Crest Trail or Appalachian Trail or Continental Divide Trail, and you're going into town to do laundry, plug it into the wall, set it and forget it. Set it and try not to forget it. Oh, there's so many. I'm going to plug this in. That's why I'm going to disappear. All right. Let's see here. That battery's on. Some batteries like to work with my laptop. Some batteries don't like to work with my laptop. The low power charger connected. Your Chromebook may not charge while it's turned on. Really? Because the battery's on and you're charging because the little lightning bolt says you are. So don't lie to me. Stupid. Liar. All right. Infamous red notebook. Dun dun dun. Today is weird because the high was 97 degrees. Right now it's holding stable at 90. This thermometer's seen better days, but I've charged. When you change out the battery, you kind of got to break the plastic. So, you get tape to tape it up, and then it looks like it's ghetto. But for the California high desert, 97 degrees is actually pretty good. And I'm in an RV, so it's actually like 4 degrees warmer inside than outside. So probably more like a 93-degree day. We're at 2,500 feet elevation, or 25 and a half feet, 2,550 feet elevation. She likes to watch the babies. For those that don't know, that is Sky. She is half Jack Russell, half Wiener Dog, 100% princess, and she tries her best to be as guardian of me as humanly possible, while at the same time, princesses don't get their nails dirty. So it's always a thing. What in the hell? She's digging around the bottom of the bin that the chickens were on. Sky, what are you doing? Leave it be. She doesn't understand that when the chickens move around inside and stir up the straw, I guess to her it sounds the same as if there was a mouse attempting to break into the RV. So she's like, "We're hunting mice. Let's do this." And in reality, no, it's the chickens messing around. I see you. What? Yeah, she just wants meatballs. Oh, that's Walmart water, strawberry flavor, because why not? You could crush a can. It's a pain in the ass to crush a plastic bottle. Do you want a meatball? All right, so obviously not sponsored because I don't have nearly enough, but these Buddy's meatballs, especially the barbecue ones, barbecue chicken, my dog goes crazy for them. I have not met a dog that rejects them, ever. And my dog, being the little princess that she is, she's infamous for taking a treat and stashing it. And she doesn't stash these. She actually eats them, which is good. Where I live, which is 15 miles away from the nearest, let's call it civilization, because it's an unincorporated town. You will get random dogs, or I get random dogs on my property at random times. They just randomly show up. And I'll feel bad for some of them, and some of them will be good. And it's really hot outside or it's raining, so I let them come inside. And those new dogs, those stray dogs, they don't know that they're Sky's stashes. They just know, ooh, I found something to eat. So they get her stashes, and she gets mad. But maybe if you would eat your treat when I give it to you, you wouldn't lose it later. All right, let's see what's going on with this charging here. 20%, you refuse to charge, huh? Okay, well, that's cool. You're a USB-C. We'll take this little black cable, we'll put that somewhere else. Look at this. The wind scared you, huh? We'll get this purple cable, which is USB-C anyway. And we'll plug it in. And boom, now you're charging off of a different cable. Shut up. I love it, like you could look at the stars and you can figure out questions that you couldn't even word back in the old days with the dictionaries and the Encyclopedia Britannicas. Now you have cell phones and you can ask whatever question you want to ask, and great, here's the answer. But somebody comes up to you and goes, "Excuse me, do you know what time it is?" And your phone doesn't want to turn on. Or, "Excuse me, do you know if it's going to rain in the next 3 hours?" And you look for the weather, and all of a sudden it takes 20 minutes for what should just be the tap of one button. You got the chip that goes onto a debit card, which is supposed to make things easier, which is weird because I don't see anybody get the chip right the first time. But I remember when you slid your card, you always got it right. The only reason how you can screw it up is if you were sliding too fast or too slow. And that was it. But now you put your card inside a little chip reader, which looks like a suppository, by the way, because it looks like you're shoving it up the robot's ass. You're no longer putting it on their face and doing the you're no longer swiping it on the sides. You're now shoving it up the robot's ass. It doesn't work all the time, so you got to take it out, clean it, shove it right back up the robot's ass or card reader. Yeah, things are getting pretty perverted. Just random. Like, I love going out of my way to have a conversation. You're like, "Okay, cool, we're going 30 seconds. Boom, now we're going another way. 30 more seconds. Boom, now we're going." Yeah. Let's see what I wrote in my book, because nobody's here yet. It's been 12 minutes. This is about random bullshit and see what happens. Farm Simulator. Oh yeah, I made a list. Farm Simulator. I got a Nintendo Switch because... Did I get that before or after? I think I got a Nintendo Switch because I was leaving to go live in the Philippines for like 5 or 6 months. Probably. Or I got the Nintendo Switch because it was on sale for like $200. I think I got like the one and only stimulus check that I ever received. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to buy a Switch. Anyway, one way or another, I wound up with a Nintendo Switch Lite, the yellow one, the $200 one. And of all the games, because at the time I was in my 30s, out of all the games I got for a Nintendo, I wound up with Farming Simulator. And that was cool because the Farming Simulator Nintendo Switch Edition is basically Farming Simulator 2017 on Xbox and everything else, which ironically was the same Farming Simulator I owned on Xbox. So, yeah, I accidentally checked, like hours played. One map we're looking at 600 hours, and the other map was like over 150 hours. And Nintendo Switch only offers 2 maps anyway. So on one hand, I'm looking at it like, see, you played Farming Simulator for 650 plus hours over the course of these 2 maps, and now you're homesteading, and now you're going to put this together with this, and it's going to work, and voila. And then common sense kicks in, and it's like, no, this is a video game. This has tractors and vehicles. You live on 3 acres of land. Meanwhile, your smallest field is like 15 acres. You're trying to raise 10 chickens while plotting and scheming to do a vegetable garden on 3 acres. Yeah, this is nothing like Farming Simulator. This might get you into the mindset that like, hey, I could do it, but no, this is nothing like Farming Simulator. So I think that's why I wrote it down. It's like, haha, stupid. You wasted 500 hours on a fucking Farming Simulator map. Thinking, well, if I could play Farming Simulator, then you know what? I could fucking do homesteading. No, you can't. No, you can't. It's kind of the same thing with video games, you know, like, oh, well, I play video games that drive all the time, so I should know how to drive. Well, okay, but does that teach you how to maintain your sanity in bumper to bumper traffic or parallel park? Or how about merging onto and off of freeways? I mean, if anything, I guess the most realistic thing that a video game taught me, it was called Weaphone, which is like weapon, but with an H in the PHONE. It was like weapon phone. And it teaches you what buttons to push because it was like guns. And you would pretend that you had a gun in your phone. You would turn on the flash on your phone. So every time you pulled the trigger and it shot off a bullet, your flash would go off. And so, like, that taught me if you push this button, the magazine will pop out, and this is where you rack the chamber. But in reality, no. I've been playing video games for 41 years. Fucking hasn't taught me shit in comparison to real life. All right, so let's see here. AEW is better than WWE. I don't give a shit about storylines, especially when Dirty Dom cheated on Rhea. Really? Because Rhea Ripley is married to Buddy Murphy, who wrestles for AEW. Why should I give a shit what Dirty Dom does? Rhea is married. And then they keep pushing it. And then the internet keeps going with it. And it's like, you guys know that they're married to somebody else, right? Like, stupid. I saw a YouTube channel that was fantasy booking all the AEW shows. As it turns out, there's Rampage, Collision, Dynamite, and then like monthly pay-per-views. I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. And then somebody was like, oh, yeah, he considers, I think it's like Rampage is the equivalent of SmackDown because it's like more taped. And then you have Dynamite, which would be the equivalent of like ECW, where it's much more hardcore. Then you have, and then he has Ring of Honor, which I didn't write in yet, but then you have Ring of Honor, which is sometimes it's more hardcore, sometimes it's not. ROH. Sometimes it's more pure. Sometimes it's 6-man tag and it's total nonstop action. And at first I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to fantasy book AEW wrestlers. I mean, there is the joke that Tony Khan has like 150 male wrestlers and like well over 85 women wrestlers under contract at this point in time. And I believe like 20 of them are injured, including Keith Lee, which, damn it, hurry up, come back. I was going to talk, 20 minutes, nobody's here. Pick a dog versus needed dog for homesteading. This little princess over here, she just turned 6 years old July 5th, which is both of our birthdays. So she just turned 6. She was 1 when I got her, and I've had her for 5 years now. So at first, for a hiccup in time, I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and get her a buddy or a friend. I can't say buddy because there's the older couple that live here have a dog named Buddy. And for the 2 years they've been here, this must be like the second dog named Buddy. So it's like Buddy 2 that I know of. So, a lot of times growing up with South Park and Terrence and Phillip, I'm like, fuck you, Buddy. Well, now there's a dog named Buddy on the property, and you can't say Buddy as much. So the plan originally was on her birthday, I was going to take her to the Lancaster, California dog pound or dog shelter, and she was going to pick out who she wanted to be a big sister to, or little sister, I guess. I was almost like in my mind, I was like, we should start off with kittens because she loves kittens. She likes babies, especially baby humans, baby kittens, baby chicks. Like, she doesn't normally sleep with her head where that black bin is, but because there's baby chicks in that black bin, she's all about it. And it's because I got her from northern San Diego County. I think it was San Marcos, the San Marcos dog shelter. What is it, babies? They're not doing nothing. They're just sitting there. Thanks for giving me half of a heart attack. They're just chilling. They're looking at... For you that just showed up, this is my dog Sky. She's half Jack Russell, half wiener dog, and she's obsessed with little baby chickens. So she wants to be the surrogate mom. And she likes to jump at the slightest little noise. And I think that it's actually like a predator. And it turns out that it's never a predator. It's an overactive imagination in a dog. Well, anyway, let's plug this battery in. All right, so we're at 22 minutes. I had one person in here for 2 whole minutes, and then they turned around and left. Great, awesome. I'm going to keep trying because you know what? I'm too dumb to quit. I really am. I mean, I'm going to shut that window right there because that window is way too bright. There we go. Still too damn bright. Oh, well, I tried. I don't understand most of this stuff. Like, what's this button do? Share screen, share in stream, edit. What's this do over here? Show side panel. Yep. So for those of you who are probably laughing at this because it is kind of funny, I was one of those kids that was like born in 1983. Parents weren't ready to be parents. Very much wake up as the sun's coming up, eat a bowl of oatmeal, take some fucking Ritalin, get kicked out the front door. Sometimes there was a bag lunch, sometimes there wasn't. Told not to come back until either the streetlights come on. There is no actual or now that I think about it. Told not to come back until the streetlights come on, and that there was an extra dose of ass whooping my way if I came back earlier, especially with handcuffs on. My parents would do anything to avoid police. Mainly because my dad was like sheriff's deputy, which meant half the time he was in the jail and the other half the time he wasn't so much in the jail, but he could have been escorting people to and from court. He could have been doing all sorts of weird shit. It's a weird, tiny little county halfway in between Sacramento and San Francisco. So, like, you know, and then my dad was like 6'5", 329. So he was kind of like jack of all trades. So he was like, I'm here. You pay me. Give me random jobs throughout the day and I'll do them. And it was kind of weird too. It's like we would grow up and like every once in a while, it was like, I think it was called Burrito Castle number 3. And my dad would be like, can you bring me a burrito? Okay. So my mom would load up the kids into the car and get my dad a burrito and take it to his work. And sure enough, as he's talking to my mom in the parking lot, some random prisoner, because this was a minimum security prison, some random prisoner would walk up and hand him a big old brown paper bag that came from a grocery store. And he would look at it and he would say, yeah, it's okay. And then hand it back to the guy. And they grew on this minimum security prison. They grew walnuts and red onions and I want to say oranges. I'm not 100% about the oranges, but I am 100% about the walnuts and the red onions. And so I guess prisoners being prisoners, they're like, I want to talk to a woman in a car. I don't care if it's the CEO's fucking wife and kids. I'm going to go hand over a brown bag of fucking walnuts. So that was fun. I also remember my dad like watching Scared Straight and realizing that he could kind of sort of manipulate the system and then trying to do that for me. And it completely backfired because like I sympathize with most of the prisoners, especially the ones that he put me in front of. I was like, oh, that's not so bad. I would have done the same. As a matter of fact, I would have chopped them up into tiny little pieces and then used Oh, here's one. Would you rather be pissed off or pissed on? I mean, hell, if you're pissed on, you just wash that shit off, use some soap, and you're good to go. I mean, fuck, you might even have a jellyfish that stung you, so you want to be pissed on. But if you're pissed off, I mean, you could just go take a breath, smoke a bowl. If you're one of those sick fucks, you could smoke a cigarette. Full disclosure, I smoked cigarettes for, I think, off and on for about 5 years in my life. Winston, Camel Reds, Durrell, full flavor. Those are my 3 go-tos. Nah. Man, I wish there was people in here. I'd be asking shit like stupid shit. Like, would you rather see a spirit or fly spirit? I mean, you see a spirit and you're like, man, did I go crazy? And you spend a bunch of time looking around, going, man, is it here? Is it here? Did it disappear? Is it going to show back up? But you fly spirit and you spend a bunch of time going, man, am I fucking going crazy? Why did I do this? And then you spend a bunch of time waiting for your luggage, waiting for your flight, waiting for this shit, waiting for that shit. I mean, it's basically the same thing. You know, fucked up way it is. Oh, I have no life. I have no life. I have no life. I talk to you to keep my sanity. If you've seen some of my other videos, especially my shorts, where I was like, Walmart, yeah, Walmart, you suck, Walmart, and I had a flat tire. For full disclosure, for those who don't understand how to do their research properly, I had that tire on my car for about 30 days. After about 30 days, I went to buy those 5 chicks from a random dude off of Facebook. I got 2 miles down the road and the tire goes ba-boom. I did not feel anything whatsoever about the van as I was driving it for the 30 days since I got the tire in the first place. I assumed everything was fine. I didn't grow up with auto shop. I damn sure didn't grow up with any father figures teaching me anything about auto mechanics. And I truly, in reality, don't know jack shit about auto mechanics. So outside of a knocking sound or a sound in general, I'm not going to know because I don't know. But yeah, I had to delete a bunch of comments because people wanted to be assholes and make asshole statements. And I'm like, hey, people, my 72 subscribers that are actual subscribers and actually have watched my videos, they're going to watch that and they're going to go, hey, you're stupid because you don't pay attention. So, I mean, yeah. Yeah. So I'm watching my dog. She's kind of walking around looking outside. She probably wants to go outside, but it is 7:21. I could give her a quick 10. You want to go outside? All right. There. I'll leave the door open. No. There we go. All right, there we go. There we go, Mike. There you go. Leave the door open for you, mate. Is it actually charging? 19%. I'm going downhill while charging. Hold on. Don't care. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 easiest animals to raise from scratch. From scratch to dinner plate, I guess you could say. Or, one step away. We're looking at the fish, the turkey, ducks, rabbits, quail, and the easiest of all the easiest, le chacon. El pollo is loco. I'm not going to do quail. This is the state of California. The quail is the state bird. I just kicked the TV tray that the laptop is on. Sorry about that. But yeah, quail is the state bird. I actually like the quail. I'm not doing the fucking quail. I'm not homesteading quail. No. I live in the high desert, so the concept of fish, I can't do it. It doesn't make any sense. Ducks. I don't know. I'm just gonna go no. Insert your excuse here. I just don't think that it makes sense. I like ducks. I think ducks are probably the closest thing to a spirit animal I would want to be. Possibly a fox. I always liked foxes. But a duck can walk, run, swim, crawl, follow, not follow, fly, not fly. It can do all sorts of stuff. And then I was down to rabbit and chicken. Now, in reality, the rabbit is the easiest to skin, and it has meat. And for whatever reason, it seems like the rabbit is kind of, especially for like a dude by himself who doesn't really have any cooking skills, the rabbit would probably be one of the ways to go. And on top of that, you have poop. Rabbit poop is very high in nutrients and very good for soil and composting and fertilizer and all that stuff. But the reality of me killing a rabbit, especially out here in the high desert surrounded by jackrabbits, like, I don't know if, I might do it later, But like in my mind, I'm like, dude, I'm surrounded by rabbits, but these are my rabbits, and these rabbits are going to get killed, and I'm going to use their poop for fertilizer. But these other rabbits, oh, they're just wild. I don't, oh. So that's primarily why I went with chickens. Plus, you got the eggs and the meat. It would make sense. You can hard-boiled an egg. You don't have to refrigerate the eggs. That's just an American thing that we seem to do. We tend to fuck everything up. If you think about it, look at diamonds and De Beers. The whole giving a diamond for an engagement ring, that's like 300 to 400 years old. You know what also is 300 to 400 years old? White people living in America. You know who the major buyer for all those diamonds, those blood diamonds that are engagement rings? White people who live in North America. We were doing it before we were a country. We're doing it still to this day. We don't need to give diamonds. In truth, which I find to be quite ironic until I literally have to sit someone down and make eye contact with them, wouldn't it be better if either I went and got it by myself or we went together, went to the mountains, panned for gold, used rock chisels and rock hammers and rock tools to find the gem, did the whole process to make the ring. Every time you look at the ring, you remember these memories. Or you could just walk into a random store, throw down a stack of cash, get a random fucking ring, and here you go. Boom. What do you think? You want to marry me? Okay, here we go. And for some odd reason, for the last 400 years, plus every woman I've ever talked to in my life, no, they want you to go into a store, plop down a stack of cash, go fucking bankrupt getting the ring, then double down on your bankruptcy paying for the wedding, and then triple down on your bankruptcy paying for the honeymoon. But hey, why don't you buy me anything on our anniversary? I don't know, because the ring was 5,000, the wedding was 5,000, and the honeymoon plus reception was 5,000. Yeah, we live in a stupid. We should have a war on stupidity or a war on common sense. Like that war on plastic. Okay, that's fine. You ever step foot in a hospital? Because they need a lot of shit wrapped in plastic to prove it's sterile. So, what war on plastic are we talking about? Are we talking about the war on straws? Okay, cool. What are we going to do with the guy who has his jaw wired shut? Is there a war on straws for him? That's probably where my oppositional defiance disorder, or ODD, which makes me odd, comes from. Because, like a cop wants to handcuff you and detain you for his security and yours, but he's the one wearing a fucking utility belt and the flak jacket and has backup on the way and has a canine, probably a German Shepherd with the biggest bite force out of all the dogs, waiting to bite my ass. But somehow you need to fucking quite literally kidnap me and then kidnap me and then kidnap me. Because by handcuffing me, you are forcing me against my will to put my hands behind my back and you are detaining me, which is a form of kidnapping. If you force me or tell me to move up to, but not past 15 feet in any direction against my will, that is also kidnapping. So if you say, come with me, we're going into this police car, you are kidnapping me. On top of that, since I'm in the back of a police car and it has the cages and the bars on the window and the child lock, if you don't immediately roll down the window, I guess turn on the air conditioner. That's the third form of kidnapping, because now you are detaining somebody against their will. You're handcuffing them so they can't fend for themselves, and you're putting them in an uncontrolled environment, meaning there's no fresh air. They can't even roll down the window to save their lives. It's, we're taught as kids, if you get locked into a fucking grocery store, the last thing that should ever happen to you is that you die of starvation. And yet, police across the United States want you to get locked in the grocery store and to die of starvation, which makes no sense. Especially because most of them don't miss a fucking meal regardless. I was going to add to it, but I decided to bite my tongue instead. I had a whole connection piece that required me. It was therapy versus prison. And there was like this whole connection part where you could pay for therapy and you get what you pay for because you get what you pay for. Or you can play the odds, walk up to a police officer, punch him in the face, get arrested for, assault on an officer. You will probably get sentenced. All officers like to tack on assault anyway, so it becomes this weird thing of like, he said, she said, after you've served your sentence in the future. And you get to have free therapy. All the free therapy you want. As a matter of fact, the state pays for it. The people pay for it. So you have people, I forget his name, but he was in Kansas, and this was in the early 2000s, where he had cancer. And the guy, it was Kansas, and it was cancer. I have dyslexia, so this is how I remember Kansas cancer. And the farmer dude, who was up to his eyeballs in debt, could barely pay for healthcare to begin with. Now he has cancer, and he realizes if he were to rob a bank, he would go to prison and get therapy and medical and all this other stuff. And so he robs a bank for $1. And I believe he robbed the bank with a pitchfork. Out of all the weapons he could have chose, he chose a pitchfork, robs the bank for $1, goes and sits in the chair in the lobby and waits for the police to show up. So, I mean, we are getting to that point. It's kind of... it's kind of... I lived in the Philippines for 6 months. And the number one argument that you would hear Filipino guys say is it's not fair that they're losing all these Filipino women to the white guy, and these Americans are coming over and they're fat and they're out of shape and they're bloated, and oh my God, why would that chick be with him? That's Jabba the Hutt. He's so disgusting. She could be with me. And it's, well, there's no shortage of women that are willing to take that shortcut. So that guy gets to be fat due to circumstances. Just the same as male sports pay more than female sports. Why? Because more people, especially if it's life-threatening, more people want to see males attempt to risk their life for what may or may not be life-threatening. I mean, take for instance bobsledding. Nobody's going to see, well, you risk your life equally, regardless if you're man or woman, because you're going down with gravity on ice in a bobsled. So, okay, we could do men and women bobsledding, but you take women's basketball up until the last few months with Caitlin Clark, and most people were like, I don't want to watch women's basketball because the court is smaller. The basketball is going to be smaller. They're going to be more apt to use the referee to call constant foul. Like, insert your excuse here. Professional football versus lingerie football. Well, people didn't want to see women play football, but all of a sudden you have lingerie football, and now people are like, hey, wait a sec, hold on, wait a minute. And It is slightly true. Why is a professional football player wearing pads on his hamstrings and wearing these really long shorts going down past his knees when very few people on the team even get hit below the waist? So why are you wearing those? So the women who do the lingerie football, they don't wear leg pads. 17% battery. All right, we're at 45 minutes, and I'm starting to struggle to continue this conversation with a whole lot of nobody. Yay! I'm going to give myself a thumbs up. Why? Because I think I can. I cannot. Lame. The point was to do an hour, see who shows up, have random conversations, and go from there. It's been 45 minutes. One person showed up for a whopping 5 seconds and then left. So, okay, you got to start somewhere. Flying cars versus helicopters. People who want flying cars, you are fucking idiots. You have a car, you need a driver's license. When it flies, you need another license called a pilot's license. That flying car is also going to have the ability to hover. They call that a helicopter's license. And then, how many people could drive a car? Oh, one. Helicopter license. How many people could fly a helicopter? 2. How many people could fit in a flying car? Are we talking like a flying minivan? Because there's like 7. I could get a helicopter that could fit like 36. Then we talk about propellers. Why propellers? Because propellers equal gas. Propellers equal oil. Propellers equal maintenance. There's that saying, more moving parts equals more opportunity for failure. So a flying minivan that could fit 7 whole people, you're going to have about 8 propellers. So that means that when little Timmy's done with his Happy Meal and he decides he doesn't want that toy because he already has that toy and he throws it out the window, it's not litter. It's something that's going to go into one of your rudders and probably cause an accident. And now you're going to fall from the sky and die. Or be forced to land on the first immediate mountain. Flying cars versus helicopters. I would rather go for the helicopter versus the flying car. A helicopter is much more stealth until it's on you, and then it's on you. A flying car, you're going to have more propellers, which means you're going to hear it from literally miles away. I mean, I just see nothing but problems. I don't know why people would want a flying car over a helicopter. On top of that, a helicopter's cheaper. Helicopter has a co-pilot. Helicopter has the ability to float on water. Will that flying car have the ability to float on water? New person, what's up? How you doing? Welcome to my channel. I am bored and I'm reading out of a notebook that I found a couple months ago. You like professional wrestling? I like professional wrestling. Let's do the Mount Rushmore professional wrestling. Triple H, Roddy Piper, Kurt Angle, Bryan Danielson, and or interchangeable here, Rey Mysterio. They don't need titles. Hell, they don't even really truly need to do promos. You could do a promo backstage just the same as they could do promos on the stage or in the ring. Put the name on a marquee, you sell a ticket. That's my dog, Sky. She's the thing that you're hearing coughing in the back. She's half Jack Russell, half Wiener Dog. Inside that box is 5 baby chicks. I'm on my laptop right now, so I don't feel like actually showing you. Something like that. Plus, it's hooked into a bunch of cables, and I don't feel like tripping and falling. It would just be horrible. Wavy Lay chips. Yeah, that's really scratching the bottom of the barrel, bringing up potato chips. But I finally found a chip that I like, just called Wavy Lay's Salt and Pepper. and it was in a black bag before COVID hit. COVID hit. They took it off the market. There's no more COVID. And everywhere I go, it's regular wavy lays. And I can't just add pepper. I freaking hate ketchup. Somebody told me a trick about pouring a bunch of ketchup and then you pour the pepper on the ketchup. So that way, every time you dunk the ketchup, you get pepper. But I hate ketchup. I don't like it when Wavy Lays comes out with new flavors such as Funyuns and Cool Ranch, but they don't bring back the ones that people actually want, such as salt and pepper. I guess I can make that into a whole 5 minutes, but that's why I wrote it down. Now I seem kind of stupid. Hey, would you rather be pissed off or pissed on? If you're pissed off, you can change your opinion. Hell, you go smoke a bowl, smoke a cigarette, go take 5 minutes, go breathe some fresh air. You get pissed on, well, maybe there's a jellyfish that stung you. Or, would you rather see a spirit or fly spirit? Both of them leave you scratching your head. Both of them leave you looking around, either for your luggage or for your sanity. Would you rather be racist or racing? If you're racist, you could always change your opinions. I mean, they're just opinions. If you're racing, well, you got to make sure you hit the brake before you hit that turn because gravity's not going to miss you. Wow, dude, I'm really scratching the bottom of the barrel here. Did you hear about the guy who was a farmer in Kansas? He robbed a bank for $1 so that way he could get free health care. If we're coming to that kind of civilization, kind of makes you think, like, this dude was so hard up. He had cancer, and he just lost his wife. I think the bank was trying to come after his farm, so he robs a bank for $1 with a pitchfork. And then he goes and sits in the lobby in a chair and waits for the police to show up. Now, at first, you're like, okay, that's fucking weird, and okay. But then you look at it, and you're like, if you're homeless in the winter, let's say you're stuck in like Minnesota, and for whatever reason you have pride and you don't want to leave Minnesota and it's about to be winter, and you can't really go to a shelter because you're probably going to get raped or all your shit's going to get stolen. You can't do this, you can't do that. Insert excuse here, insert excuse there. So then you start thinking and you're like, I could go punch a cop in the face. At least if I get 3 months out of assault on an officer, I get 3 hots and a cot. I got a place where I could take a shower. I got a place where if I don't want to get my food comes to me. It's kind of weird that we've come to that. Meanwhile, you have places like Japan that have internet cafes open 24 hours a day. You pay like $1 an hour. They know that homeless people use it as makeshift shelters. They don't care. They're still in business. The other day, I had to go to the hospital for heat stroke. Well, it was July. It was like July 12th. So I guess it was a month ago now. And I go to the hospital for heat stroke, and I got to call an ambulance. And I show up, and I'm like, hey, I'm on Social Security and disability, and I'm poor as shit. And I just got basic-ass health care. And they're giving me all these sob stuff. It doesn't matter. You need help. We help everybody. Damn it. You come here when we need you. Okay, cool. Right on. Okay, cool. After 6 hours, they finally want to release me, but then they realize that they haven't fed me yet. And part of heat stroke is to feed me and make sure I can keep it in. So basically, that means that they're going to keep me overnight. And then the nurse dude gives me, a tray of food. It's like ground beef, rice, zucchini, and a tortilla. And then comes back in 2 minutes later as I'm trying to eat, and I'm trying to work with them because I realized today's Friday and it's Friday. And before I could say anything, Sky, get down. Before I could say anything, the nurse dude the gay Filipino, who basically are all the nurses nowadays. He goes, "Hey, I don't want to be mean, but we need these beds because the trunks are showing up, and it's Friday, and it's Lancaster, California, so like people really like to drink a lot, and they do a lot of drugs, so like we need this bed." And it's weird because 5.5 hours, 6 hours ago, you were telling me that we take care of everybody, and then you feed me, and 2 minutes later, you're trying to kick me out the front door. Okay. Can I take the food to go? Oh, that's right. You took it out of my fucking hands and threw it in the trash can. Okay. But hey, you take care of everybody. Health is number one. So, whatever. That's still charging. Cool. Other than that, I am bored as shit. I'm not trying to make any money off of this stuff. I guess I'll give you the spiel. I am bored as shit and trying to have a conversation. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't want to make money. I don't want to have people say sell or endorse my products and I'll give you money. I don't want nothing. I want to have conversations, shoot the shit, kill some time, have a good life, enjoy some smiles, or enjoy laughs, whatever. Okay. Let me grab this battery pack and show you what she's going crazy over. So these are like, they call them day-old chicks, and they're $5 a piece when you buy them. And they are basically 1 day old. And I got the brilliant idea to keep them in the RV with me. So now I get to hear birds chirping 24 hours a day, except for when they sleep. And because there's 5 of them, ironically, 1 of them has to stay awake at all times. So whenever they get scared, they'll bump into the other and the other and the other, domino theory, and they'll start chirping. And you're like, what's going on? Is it important? Somebody attacking my chickens? No? Okay. California was quick to give me Social Security and disability. However, they were not quick to help me in any way, shape, or form. Let me get that glare out of here. There we go. They were not quick to help me in any way, shape, or form. They were quick to say, go get a service dog, but they won't help me with vet visits. They won't help me with dog food. They won't help me with much of anything. And then because of the color of my skin, I literally make the least amount that the United States of America is willing to pay, which is $1,300 a month between the two. So like $650 a check, I guess. And I saw other people who made more money than me sit around with needles sticking out of their arms, with their hand out asking for help, with a cardboard sign, anything will help. And I said, no, hell no. I spent about 20 years. Let me hit this X, sorry. I keep getting warnings about my battery. I spent the better part of 20 years of my life with a backpack on my back and or that backpack in a bicycle trailer being pulled by a bicycle. I left home when I was 14 and never actually officially moved back in. Never actually officially even really called home. I think I called home about 10 times over the close to 30 years now. Parents are still alive and whatnot. They just didn't want to be parents. And now that I'm gone, they moved on and I moved on. And it is what it is. Sometimes you have a family where you just break away. I'm looking for a battery so I can turn on the light above me. Sorry about that. I am not avoiding you. Cool. There we go. And then there was light. I wandered around America, specifically the Pacific Crest Trail and the Pacific Coast Highway. But I did wander across America, through America, and around America. And I found myself, I guess you could call it stealing other people's dreams. And like one day, I'm tired of going to state parks, and there's the Campground of America, KOA. I go into the KOA and I talk to these people, and they're like, "Oh, you're bicycling! Oh my God, that's so cool! I wish I could bicycle!" Blah blah blah. And you want it? And if I could, I would hike around the rim of Crater Lake in Oregon. And like a week or two later, I'm hiking around the rim of Crater Lake in Oregon, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't want to be doing this. This wasn't my dream. This was somebody else's. I literally stole their dream. And then I found myself doing it over and over and over and over and over. I would meet like this old couple, and they're like, "Oh, I've always wanted to go to Mount Rushmore. I wish I had the drive." Next thing you know, I'm literally bicycling from California to Mount Rushmore. I don't fucking give a shit about Mount Rushmore. I've already seen it before. It's smaller in real life too. But it sounded good at the moment. Let's do it. I would also take the map of America, put it on my phone, spin my phone, and point my finger, and that's where I went. So I turned 38, and I forced myself into retirement because I find myself quite literally running down mountains on the Pacific Crest Trail with 35 pounds strapped to my back. And on one hand, that's super badass. You're such a man. Yeah, I am. But on the other hand, like, if I have to get to this point where I'm running up mountains and running down mountains with 35 pounds on my back, and I'm dehydrating myself, and I'm starving myself, and I'm giving myself all these extreme highs and extreme lows on the Pacific Crest Trail. This is a trail where people literally, they have one shot their whole life. They save up, they get like $3,000-$4,000. They leave their country to come do this thing. And I'm just like, I'm going to hike the whole trail backwards. I'm going to do this stupid thing, do that stupid thing, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to run up and down the mountains. And so I was like, hey, I think I'm being a dick, and I should stop being a dick. And I found this property that's 3 acres, and it happens to be, ironically, about 5 miles off the Pacific Crest Trail. So I could technically become a trail angel. And then people would, they would just take a break. They were hiking the trail, and they see a sign that says Bobby's Place, take this way, follow this road, blah, blah, blah. And they could kind of take a day off, take a week off, whatever. But my plan was to make this into a homestead where they would get off the trail, and instead of going into town to get supplies, they would be able to get supplies from me. And I saw a lot of videos about earth ships, and you have this one guy who, he's like, I'm walking from the bathroom to the kitchen, and I decide I want a pear, and oh, look at that. Boom, right there. There's a pear, and it's in my hallway. And then I go down this hallway right here, and here's a cherry tree, and I can pick some cherries off, and now I want fruit salad. And I was like, I want that, but I can't eat all that by myself. So if I was a trail angel, people could get off the trail, and they could pick all the fruits and vegetables that I grow, and it's not a big deal to me because I actually like to fucking give things to people, or whatever you want to call it. Sky, will you leave those chicks alone? Thank you. So that was the plan. And then I actually got out here and, fantasy versus reality. And around month number 34, I finally paid off my land last month, and I can actually use my money for things. And then I blow out the back tire of my minivan. So you have to rely on my neighbors to take me to and from town. And that's fun. So, reality versus fantasy. You want to see what's going on? Reality versus fantasy. Head up, right there. No? Do you want me to tilt it? There. So, she's a princess. Her name is Sky. She's 6, like I said. And she wants to sit on my lap right now. She doesn't normally do this, but because I'm speaking out loud, she thinks that I'm talking to somebody, and she wants to be the center of attention. This is what I get to deal with. I don't get. Oh, and then she forgets that she's a girl dog, so we'll go out in public and she'll lift a leg to pee, even though she also squats as she lifts a leg. So she's doing some weird, intense core muscle strength stuff. But she also likes to jump into other people's cars, so I don't let her out without hooking up her harness to my leash, because she'll run and jump into other people's cars because they have a baby. She loves babies. And she jumped into this lady's Honda something or other SUV. And the lady had just strapped in the baby, and she did that thing where she took a step back and she turned to the left to then close the door. And as she closes the door, Sky jumps into the car, and the baby's loving it. It's like, oh my God, dog. And I'm trying to explain to the lady that my dog is now in the backseat of your car. And she's telling me, no, there is no dog in the backseat. And I'm like, shut up and open your eyes. My dog is in the backseat of your car. I'm not trying to steal your purse. I'm not trying to steal your kid. I don't give a crap about you. I just want my dog back. She jumped into your car. And she's done that about 3 times in the last 2 years. And that's gotten me kind of to the point where I got to make sure and double check. One day I won't be so lucky. But what was that? You should go check up on that sound. What was that? For real, what was that sound? Go check. Yeah, she's off. All right. How do people do this? I see people doing this YouTube live stuff, and they're like painting their nails and taking a shit, washing dishes. And I'm like, that's disrespectful. And then I go to my stuff, which is homesteading, and the people doing the homesteading channel stuff, they skip over my comment. They skip over some other people's comments. They pick and choose and cherry pick who they want to have conversations with. And I'm like, that's disrespectful. I'm going to go do YouTube live, and I'm going to have conversations with people. And they're going to come in, and they're going to type things in the chat box, which is right here. I'm on a laptop. They're going to type things into this chat box, and I'm going to answer the question. They're going to be like, what's your favorite color? And I'm going to be like, today it's orange. But fantasy versus reality, right? What time is it? 8:00 p.m. California time. Great. Lovely. Wow. All right. I was scratching the bottom of the barrel. Did you know that it costs $7 to cross the Golden Gate Bridge? Or the Bay Bridge? $7 fucking dollars. And most people commute in and out of San Francisco. So you figure $7 to get to work, $7 to get from work. Actually, yeah, that's true because my dad, there's like a 2-hour gap, so you'd have to cross over another bay or another bridge called the Carquinez Bridge. So yeah, he would have to pay $7 to get into into San Francisco. Then he'd have to pay $7 to get back, and then you multiply that by like 31 days. Damn. So, because you're here and I feel the need to entertain you, and I'm bored as shit anyway. I mean, what am I gonna do? End this, find something to watch on YouTube, and probably eat a can of chicken noodle soup. So, why not babble for a little bit while I get comfortable? We're gonna be here for a minute, okay? So, I've actually had this little tidbit of knowledge for the longest time, and this is how you can tell, in a way, if people let shit go. Like I said, I haven't talked to my mom like 20 plus years. She's still alive, still kicking. She's probably 61 right now. And she used to complain because I was one of those bad kids that would get in fights, could barely make it through an entire school day. And when I would get in trouble, sent to the principal's office, suspended, the rules were a parent had to come and physically sign me out from the office. And given the fact that my parents were up to their eyeballs in debt, my parents had to share one car. Given that my mom was notorious for getting knocked up every 4 years on the 4 year mark, which is weird because food stamps last exactly 4.5 years. Go imagine that. She would complain that she would have to walk pregnant from my house to the school. But the problem is, and it's knowledge I knew, and then I was messing around on my phone, playing around on Google Maps, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta write that down. So from the house that we lived in first to the school, the elementary school, was 0.6. So like 6 blocks. And then from the house that we bought later in life to the school, we moved closer to 0.4. So 4 blocks away. We went from 6 blocks to 4 blocks away from the school. And the school kind of stayed in the middle. But she would lie through her teeth and be like, you're going to make a pregnant woman walk 7 miles? And these dumbass principals would believe it. And they're like, oh, it's okay. We'll drive your son home. Okay. Nowadays, could you imagine if a principal was like, hey, we're going to suspend your son, but don't worry, we'll drive him home? What's up, new dude? New chick? Fuck, both of you guys left. Oh, shit. Well, it's been an hour 13. I tried. By the way, just to kind of, because I was a little shit my entire schooling, the junior high was 0.6. So my mom would go in, she's like, you're going to make a pregnant woman walk fucking 7 miles. And all he did was get in a fight. And school's going on right now. So you could have sent him home and I would have called to say that he made it home safely. And we could have just met halfway. And who's going to steal him halfway through a school day? Blah, 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 blah. Well, we lived 6 blocks away from the school. And then I want to say like around 5th grade, we moved. And we moved to 0.4 miles away. So we lived 4 blocks away from the school. And then junior high came. And the principals would call and they're like, your kid's a bad kid. We're going to suspend your kid, blah, blah, blah. And my mom was like, well, again, magically, we live 7 miles. It was like her go-to, 7 miles. We live 7 miles away. Can't you just give them in-school suspension? Which meant there was a room dedicated in the library where you had to like copy the rules, write a 3-page essay why you were there and how your behavior was prohibiting you from being successful in life. And then you could do whatever work the classrooms decided to send, if they decided to send anything at all. Otherwise, you would just miss that day's assignment and you were fucked. And best of luck. But in reality, I lived 0.6 miles from the junior high. And in reality, and in truth, that was 6 blocks if you were in a car, because you weren't allowed to take the shortcut, which was the bike trail, which was 3 blocks. And then went to high school. High school was 1.8 miles away, but again, because she said 7 miles, all this time, the school sends out this piece of paper for me to get approved for the bus system. And she's like, yeah. We live 7 miles away. We live 7 miles away. My kid needs to ride the bus. And the bus was for 3 miles. And 3 miles and up. So by saying 7, I was, 7, shit, he needs to get on the bus. And they never actually checked. And so by not checking, I got pre-approved. Go ahead, ride the bus. Turns out I was 1.8 miles. So as a kid, when you're like, hey, Mom, I want to ride my bike to school. I want to skateboard to school. I want to rollerblade to school. My parents would always say, no, catch the bus. You have a bus, take the bus. But the reality was they had to lie to get me on the bus in the first place because they were lazy. And they realized that by living 1.8 miles, I would be riding my bicycle more frequently, which means I would be learning the mechanics of a bicycle. And by learning the mechanics of a bicycle, I learned the independence that comes with it. And they didn't like that. They needed slave labor, which is what I did. A lot of pulling weeds, a lot of picking up dog shit, and a lot of tree care. And then I got kicked out of traditional high school, and I went to this continuation school, which was 3.2 miles, which was officially okay for me to ride the bus. And it was the one time my mom did not fill out the paperwork for me to ride the bus. And she was like, you want to go to continuation school so bad? You can walk there every fucking day. 3.2 miles. So that was another reason why I left home when I was like 14 and a half years old. It was easier to go to the campground literally 3 miles down the road from the high school than it was for me to walk home 3.2 miles and then get locked outside because my mom decided to shove the tampon up the wrong hole for the day. And I may or may not get dinner. I may or may not get breakfast in the morning. I may or may not get a blanket. Meanwhile, I go to that campground. Random strangers are like, hey, I cooked way too many hamburgers. Come hang out with us. What would you choose? Anyway, we're at an hour 18. I am tired of talking. I don't want to talk anymore. I want to end the stream. I had one person in here for a whopping 10, 20 minutes. That was pretty cool. Second person for a little bit, but they disappeared. I think they kidnapped my person. That sucks. Anyway, I'm trying. I'm honestly trying. I really don't want money. I don't want sponsors. I don't want any of that. I just want to have conversations. I don't understand a lot of things, but I do understand I have answers to a lot of other things. So who knows? Maybe this is like Yahoo chat rooms. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to hit the button now. Y'all have a good night. Love, peace, chicken grease. I'm out of here, and it's 8:10 on a Tuesday night. Do you know where your children are? I told you already. No.